Marriage Story is a Netflix original movie written and directed by Noah Baumbach, who directed The Squid and the Whale, and is a great character study of a marriage between two people dissolving and leading to divorce. You have Charlie, played by Adam Driver, and you have Nicole, played by Scarlett Johansson. And this movie just centers on these two and their young son, as they have been married for a number of years. They've been together, married, they have a son who's around the age of 8. And we come into this movie where they're trying to do things in an amicable manner. While they do still care about each other, and they obviously love their son and want what's best for their son, the marriage just isn't working. They're both toxic for each other. They love each other, but they're not in love with each other. And the more they stay together, the worse things are for both of them. And I was very excited to see this movie, as my favorite movie critic on YouTube, Chris Stuckman, highly recommended it. And people wouldn't stop banging on about this movie in general. Like social media, people would tell me, hey, especially on Twitter, you got to see this. You guys got to see this movie. Hey, John, you got to see this movie. So, okay, you don't want to stop banging on about it? I'll give it a shot. And holy shit, this movie was great. It really was great. I could get into every scene, minute detail, and we could be here all day. And I'm going to get into a few things here in a little bit, but I will spoil a few things. But really with this, I will say that if you've been through any kind of divorce, you've been through one or you've been through multiple ones, this may be very difficult for you to get through, because it deals with everyday life in finer details of how people would deal with a divorce, especially once lawyers get involved. And my God, it gets to where a lot of the dialogue, and it's very, very well written dialogue and very well acted. If Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson don't get recognition at, some award ceremonies, and even like something, at least at the Golden Globes, I would be amazed. I don't pay attention to the Golden Globe nominations all that much, or the Academy Awards, but sometimes when I see some performances, I have to shout them out. These two are goddamn terrific. There are supporting roles by Laura Dern, Ray Liotta, Alan Alda, and the boy who plays the son actually does very well also. But with this, it just has this feel of like how a marriage could actually dissolve. Now, yes, this couple does have a lot of assets. Charlie does plays in New York. They've been living in New York for a while, but Nicole wants to live back in LA as she grew up there. She has her mother, who's played by the woman who was the lead in Airplane. I don't recall her name right now. I apologize for that, but she was very good in a supporting role as well. Everybody does get along, especially when it comes to the son Henry, but there's obvious tension because, again, Nicole and Charlie just aren't right for each other, and there are certain scenes where they just deal with everything in the best way possible because they want to do stuff for their son, or they want to, not involve lawyers. Once lawyers get involved, the teeth come out, and holy crap, everything gets, they start cutting each other deep with some of the stuff they say. And in one particular scene later in the movie, there's some stuff that's said between the couple where, goddamn, I felt that. I've never been married, and it's like I felt that, because when it comes to a lot of divorces, or comes to a lot of separate, relationships, long-term relationships ending, you can say some things you don't mean, and we've all done that as human beings. And that's really what I like about this movie, is it deals with everything in a realistic way. It's kind of the same as Waves, though Waves was a bit more dialed up. Not necessarily an unrealistic way, but that was a different type of character study. This is on the same wavelength in the sense that with the characters, the central characters they have, this really does a great job fleshing them out and showing there's no good, there's no bad. Everybody's got two sides to them. And I'm not saying like they're two-faced, but everybody's got flaws. Everybody's got things they need to embrace, they need to admit about themselves. This movie is just goddamn amazing. It really is. I can't, say enough good things about it. It just is really fucking good. If you have not had a chance to see this, fucking watch it. If you got a Netflix account, watch it. It's about 2 hours and 15 minutes. Well, let's see, 2 hours, 16 minutes. And the credits are the last 5 minutes. So if you don't want to watch credits, you don't have to. But it's a really great character study, and just the best. It shows how a divorce can work in a great way while also affecting both parties deeply. But what it comes down to is, if you have a kid, when it comes to a divorce, you want to do what's best for them. And that's what this couple ultimately does. They find a common ground in raising their kid and finding a way to make everything work. But there's no like, oh, this person gets everything they want and this person gets nothing. No, there's ways they work around that. And they do delve deep into stuff, but not so much that you feel like it's just layering shit on and dragging the movie out. At least in my opinion. Some people may disagree. But I really enjoyed this movie. Adam Driver, Scarlett Johansson were goddamn amazing in this. They deserve so much recognition for their roles. Please go watch this movie. But now I'm going to get into a few spoilers here. So if you're still watching, we're after 5:30. So I'm just going to say 3, 2, 1, and go. So lawyers get involved. Ray Liotta is a bit of a scuzzy lawyer. I know, shocking that Ray Liotta would play a scuzzy person. Alan Alda is more of a dialed back lawyer that understands the plight since he's been divorced a few times. Laura Dern is terrific as a lawyer, somebody that represents Nicole, Scarlett Johansson's character. And once the lawyers get in, though, just everything, just all the mudslinging and stuff like that, this couple that wanted to keep things simple and you can have this asset, you can have this. We don't have a ton of money, but we'll figure out a way to make it work. And, I want to stay in New York, says Charlie, but Nicole wants to stay in LA. Then the contention starts and, well, what's going to happen with the kid? Because that's all the way across the other side of the country. What's going to happen? Because both parents want to be involved in their kids' lives. There's selfishness on both ends. And I can totally understand where both are coming from. That's the thing, is they flesh out both sides enough where you can see where both characters are coming from. There's one particular scene, like the scene with the lawyers, especially once Ray Liotta gets involved, or Ray Liotta, Liotta, however you say it. When him and Laura Dern just start sniping and throwing out all this stuff, good Lord, that gets a little bit intense. And then there's this woman that comes to study both, Nicole's character and Charlie and see what would work best for the kid, like somebody that deals with family matters and deals with children. Those are some good, lengthy scenes and stuff like that. There's some really good dark comedy and some even, regular comedy. It deals with stuff in a bit of a comedic way in some scenes, but it knows when to draw that back and be absolutely serious. And they really do nail the roles perfectly. One particular scene, Charlie just loses it in an apartment that he's renting in LA at his expense to try and make this work because Nicole's living out in LA and just says the most vicious, cutting stuff about her. I mean, she says a bunch of cutting stuff about him also, but just the stuff where he basically wishes death on her. And then just because it's like just that poisonous stuff, the mindset of like involving the lawyers and getting all this mudslinging going, and he loses it. Now, whether he means it or not, it was just something that he said and he realized it was wrong for him to say, but it's just, it takes it literally and just cuts you to the bone. Like, especially if you've been involved in a divorce or you've seen friends get divorced. There are things that are said that you aren't always sure should be said, but as human beings, we tend to, let our emotions get carried away. And in this situation, in various scenes, that gets brought up a lot. And this really was terrific. I do have some issues with it. I have yet to really see a fully perfect movie. There were some characters I felt that were just kind of there. No characters felt necessarily like they shouldn't have been there. But there were some side parts to it. Some little subplots that I felt were necessary and then weren't necessary. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't take away from the grade I'm going to give the movie. Do not get me wrong, but I will not say this was a perfect movie, but it's damn close. It is goddamn close. It's right about at the level of Waves. I'm still working on my, favorite movies of the year list and my least favorite movies of the year list. I'm going to include honorable mentions with those. It's going to be a top 10 for each. But with this movie, highly recommend. Sorry if I'm not getting into too many specifics, but you really have to watch this stuff to just realize the great acting in it and the great writing and just how perfectly well done it is. And cinematography is very well done. It captures these long scenes of emotion and very raw emotion. I don't know what these actors did or thought of to get that emotion out of them, but boy, it fucking worked. Guys, watch this. I can't recommend enough. Please watch this. I'm giving it an A. There's going to be a pull above my head. Maybe. I don't know. But this has been a terrific last few months for movies. I've handed out more A grades since I think since, let's see, Parasite or The Lighthouse. I think since The Lighthouse. And it's been a great goddamn, last few months for movies. It's going to be really interesting to see what the top 10 turns out to be. But yes, Marriage Story lives up to the hype, in my opinion. I really liked it. Again, if you've gone through a divorce, though, and any of this stuff seems familiar, it's probably going to cut you even more. So you're either going to love it or it's going to make you uncomfortable. Now, I don't know if I can watch this movie again, at least anytime soon, because it was that raw and emotional. But it is really, really good. And it does get you. It does get you. At least it did me. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retland. I'll see you soon.